Hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to my review of the Royal Enfield Shotgun 650. I've been very eager to get my hands on this bike since it was announced, and in this video I'm going to tell you my thoughts. I just wanted to say a quick thank you to Cooperb Motorcycles who've allowed me to ride this bike today. This is their demo bike. They've just got it in and it's a magnificent machine. They've done a couple of bits to it, well, subtracted a couple of bits. So basically it comes with a rear seat, which is also a detachable seat which turns into a rack. You can also take the side handles off. They've just taken it all off, which really lets you see that rear mudguard, which is a really nice design, and it looks cool with the way that this seat is configured. They've also changed the indicators to some LED indicators, which are a little bit smaller and a lot brighter. I'm having to be a little bit wary because there's loads of pigeons which have laid their nests in the roof of this barn, and there's poo absolutely everywhere, so I'm trying my best not to get pooed on or to get the camera pooed on, so hopefully it doesn't happen. But this Royal Enfield shotgun, Royal Enfield have taken the shotgun and aimed it right up the backside of Harley Davidson. But have they hit the shot or did they miss? Now, I want to answer that question in this video because Harley Davidson left a huge gap in the market when they discontinued the Iron 883 and the Harley 48. Those were small capacity cruisers, small for a Harley, they're probably big compared to a lot of other bikes, but they weren't super powerful, they didn't have loads of torque, they were much lighter than the rest of their range, and they had oodles of character. So when they stopped producing those bikes, it meant that you were left with the sort of Japanese cruisers if you wanted something of that kind of size and performance. And the problem with those is that they're much more modern and they lack character, albeit they're very, very good, but they don't have the sense of occasion that those Harley Sportsters had. And then Royal Enfield came along and produced the Super Meteor 650. And that really did fill a gap in the market where people wanted a smaller capacity cruiser with the character and those old school looks. And now they've come and done it again with this shotgun. Now, this is very similar to the Super Meteor 650 and it shares a lot of the same parts, but they have made a lot of changes in the styling, and this is really marketed as a base for customization. So they really are targeting sort of custom builders to see what they can come up with this bike, but it looks fantastic as it is. And I think they've marketed it pretty well in comparison to the way Harley Davidson marketed my bike, which is the Softail Standard, which was also marketed as a base for customization, but they just made it sound like it's drab as a standard bike. Whereas this has got an awesome name, the Royal Enfield Shotgun. That's a fantastic name, and it certainly lives up to it. It's a beautiful machine. Before we carry on with the video, please do follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We post loads of videos and photos that you won't see on the YouTube channel there, and the links to both of those pages are in the description. But also make sure you subscribe to the channel. We post all kinds of bikes on this channel and it's absolutely free to do so. We are on the route to 100,000 subscribers and it would be a dream come true to reach that number. So if you could help us out, we would be very grateful. When it comes to cruiser motorcycles, I like them to be as characterful as they possibly can be. Now, this shotgun has got plenty of character, especially for something in this day and age. It is a really nice, characterful bike. Now, it doesn't have as much character as those old Sportsters, but not much will do these days as a new bike. It's very hard to do that with all the regulations that are now in place. Saying that, this is still plenty characterful. It sounds fantastic, although rather quiet because the exhausts are rather big, the silencers on the back are quite big. They're very good looking, but it's really sort of choked up, and it sounds fantastic. If you open it up and put an aftermarket exhaust on there, you really will get a completely different machine, and you'll really then be able to experience the character, the burbles, the proper sound of this engine. Talking about the engine, it's the same 650cc parallel twin that you see in the Continental GT, the Interceptor 650 and the Super Meteor 650. And it's a fabulous engine. It produces 47 horsepower at 7,250 RPM and 52.3 newton meters of torque at 5,650 RPM. And this is one of my favorite engines out there because not only does it sound good, but it's a really nice balance. It's not too fast, but it's got plenty of go. It doesn't feel sluggish, so you can have a lot of fun on this bike, and it's very beginner friendly. You can use it on the A2 license, so if you're 19 years old and above and you've got an A2 license in Europe or the UK, you can ride anything up to 47 horsepower. So this fits just on the cusp of that, and what an excellent first cruiser this would be. But it would also be very suited to people who've been riding for many years. Perhaps you've been riding the big Harleys and you want something smaller which still has the character, and you want something new. Well, this could be the answer. The shotgun handles really nicely. It feels very light for a cruiser, and it's very flickable in the turns, so you can actually have a lot of fun on the back lanes on this bike. It's not a super bike, you're going to get your knee down, but it's a really nice, positively handling bike, so it's very confidence inspiring in the corners. The suspension is a little bit on the firm side. You've got Showa upside down forks on the front, and you've got twin shocks on the rear. It's slightly firm, but that means that it handles really nicely. But if you go over a really big bump or a pothole, you do feel it a little bit. It kind of gives you a bit of a jolt, but nothing to worry about. The brakes, you've got single disc on the front and the rear. You don't need any more stopping power than this. It is perfectly good, really, really nice. Now the dials, you've got the same sort of setup you've got on the Super Meteor, so you've got your Tripper navigation system on the right, which works with the Royal Enfield app, and it just gives you arrows to tell you where to go. So really nice, simplistic design, and it's in keeping with the bike. And you've got an analog speedo with a sort of digital display in the middle to tell you all the little bits and bobs you need to know. The side stand, I found, is in a really awkward position. So when it's engaged and you want to get on the bike and go off, it's right under the foot peg. So it's really hard to get to, and you find yourself kind of scraping your leg on the foot peg. So if it was my bike, I would try and fashion a way of changing the side stand or making a longer thing on the side so that you can get to it without scraping your foot on the pegs. What is always remarkable with Royal Enfields is the price. This bike is £6,700. This particular colour is £100 more than that. What a load of bike for the money. It's hard to find many complaints when you remind yourself of the price of these things. It's just unbelievable. And that is the beauty of manufacturing bikes in India. You can create a fantastic product at an affordable price point. So absolutely impressive with the price. And it just shows you that in a day and age where most bikes are getting more and more expensive, these are still out there. Brand new bike for £6,500, just over. That is amazing. Now, I've actually got the Royal Enfield Continental GT in the garage at the moment, and I've just done a comparison between that bike and the new Norton Commando. And I know there's £10,000 difference between the two, but it's very interesting to see whether they're actually that much different for the price, or whether you do get a really good bike for your money with the Royal Enfield. So if you haven't seen that video, do go and check it out. It might actually come out after this. So I filmed it before, but this will probably go out first because this is a new bike. So subscribe so you don't miss it. The seat is really quite comfortable on this bike. It's nice and plush. So I'd be happy riding this bike for a sort of medium distance ride, maybe a couple of hours. from my house to the Old Man in Wales, and I am 6'1", and this is what I look like on the bike. So it's a really comfortable riding position. I can't remember if it's much different to the riding position on the Super Meteor 650 because I haven't ridden one of those in over a year. So I need to jog my memory of that, I think, at some point. But this is a lovely riding position. The bars are in a beautiful position. My feet are perfect. So this is an ideal riding position for me at my height. Now they've also put bar end mirrors on this shotgun. I wanted to call it a Super Meteor then, which are fantastic, always better than the normal mirrors because you can actually see the road behind you and get them angled properly, but they're not sticking out any further than the bars, so they don't impair your lane splitting ability either. You've also got a 6-speed gearbox, which is the same as the other bikes, and that gearbox is fabulous. I completely forgot, but this bike does also have a centre stand, which is nice to have. It means that you can work on the bike yourself or just put it up like that, and it looks better for a photo because it's not leaning over. So yeah, very nice thing to have. As we're always going on about mudguards recently, the mudguard is really good coverage on the front and a nice design. I think this bike overall is a really good balance between retro and modern styling of a cruiser. I really like the look of this bike, and in this colour as well. It's a lovely colour, a very nice tone of blue. That's kind of my favourite shade of blue, I must admit. And the way this bike makes you feel is fantastic. It really is a cool bike. If you were riding down a high street somewhere and you saw your reflection in the mirror, I think you wouldn't be able to take your eyes off the bike because it's a really good looking machine. People will certainly look at it, and especially if you put an aftermarket exhaust on it, they'll hear you coming as well. So I really like this bike, and for the money, what a machine. They've done it again and again and again. Royal Enfield are probably the kings of value for money in a motorcycle. So if you've enjoyed this video, please do leave a like. Let us know in the comments below what you think of this motorcycle, and we'll see you on the next one.